Good morning. It's Friday, September 27th, 2019. This is Mark Birch from Birch & Associates. I have kind of a long video this morning. There's a lot of things we need to talk about. Hopefully you can see here in the background, I'm not in my normal surroundings. I'm filling the big chair today, which is a tough task. I'm in my dad's office. We've been working on getting a lot of his things sorted up since his passing on April 5th. And since we've had some time to kind of circle the wagons and figure out who we are and where we are without him, I know you have some questions and I want to try to address those things. And it's going to take a little bit of time this morning, but I want to send this message out to you, answer a couple questions. And first of all, I want to say thank you for everybody, to everybody, for their cards. Hopefully we responded to everyone that we could, and if not, still thank you. Everyone was wonderful in reaching out after the passing of Daryl back in April. So the question is how do we move forward, and will we move forward? And of course the answer is yes. Unfortunately, when you have to deal with crisis like that, you have no choice, I don't think, but to try and recover and move forward, and I think we're doing that. I also want to send a great thanks out to my staff who performed above and beyond the call of duty back in April and May, and working through the summer and getting through extension time, which we are finishing up here in the middle of October. So a couple of questions that I think are very common is, as a client here, what's going to happen with my taxes now that Daryl is gone? And hopefully we'll be able to answer that. And then also, my dad said to everyone, that I would take care of them once he retired, and unfortunately his retirement came a little earlier than we had planned. And how's that going to work? Well, obviously I can't handle every client on a personal basis, so we're going to address those things. We are facing some major changes, not just in our organization, but we're also facing changes like we do every day in the tax world and the accounting world. That's something we deal with on a day-to-day basis. Over the last 10 years, we've had an incredible amount of tax legislation change, which we've been forced to keep up with. And hopefully we're applying that the best of our ability to your tax returns. For now, maybe we have a little bit of stability in what's going on with the tax laws, so it gives us a chance to catch our breath a little bit. But after the Affordable Care Act and after the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, we dealt with some significant changes there. So what do? We have to adapt. We have to adapt how we do business and how we work, and that means we have to look at how we do things internally and how we do things externally. And so I have some information on kind of what our plan of attack is for now. In my last several years of experience with continuing education, I've dealt with a lot of small practitioners, probably 1,200 tax preparers across the state of Nebraska. And I can pretty much assure you that everyone in my line of business, in our industry, in tax and accounting, are in the same position. And that position is that good talent is hard to find for employees, and we're very grateful for the ones that we have. And the much bigger firms seem to gobble up those young people, those good people with resources that they have that many of us smaller firms don't have the ability to do or to offer. And so sometimes it's really hard to find the right fit for somebody to come into a firm like this. We've been very fortunate to be able to move some of our part-time people into full-time positions, and we're looking to add more full-time staff and some more part-time staff during this tax season. There's no replacing Daryl. I just even almost feel guilty sitting in this very chair because you'll never replace somebody that has 48 years of experience and started our firm in 1971. So we must move forward, and we must continue to change how we do things. if I looked at how I would handle things if it was just me, in order to service all of our clients, literally I would have to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and take an appointment every 30 minutes. And that's just not possible. It's not humanly possible. We want our staff to have a great work-life balance. We want our staff to be able to enjoy their work, and we don't want them to be so stressed out and overworked that they can't enjoy some home life as well. So how do we do that? How are we going to move forward? Well, we're going to move forward with a team approach, okay? We're going to utilize some great full-time and part-time staff. But when we have a team approach, that means everyone here is going to be able to have access to every tax return here. That way, if you need help, if you need service, or if you have a question, it doesn't just have to be one person that can answer it. So I beg you to trust my staff, who are all very well educated and have a high level of continuing education and expertise in what we do. And if a certain person needs to answer a certain question, we'll get it to them and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. One of the things, and I appreciate those of you who had to file extensions, appreciate your patience. I've been extending my own tax returns for probably 25 years, and it's really not that big of a deal. I think there's a lot of apprehension about, oh my gosh, what happens when we file an extension? And I'm gonna do another video on that specifically just on the topic. But one of the things that we need to do is we need to extend tax season. We need to push it out, and I'm thinking that June 15th is the date that I'm looking at. Everyone in my industry is in the same boat. We're all, trying to get the water out of the bow as fast as we can. The problem is it's coming in a shorter amount of time, which means tax season generally doesn't start now until into February, when it used to start in January. And yet we're getting information later and later and later, and expecting to get the same or a larger amount of work done in a shorter amount of time. And it's just not physically possible. And so we're going to have to learn to adapt. We're going to have to learn to change and have some patience, and it will also help you to have a more accurate and concise and complete tax return, and will also help our staff to be able to process things in a little bit more, have a little bit more time to get the work done in a more reasonable time. We have to educate our staff on how to do these things. We have to increase the number of processes and efficiencies that we have, and we have to educate you as clients. And that's why I'll talk more later about our website. But these kind of videos are going to be very important to help pass the messages on that we have to you. And extensions are going to be a big part of how we do things in the future. I really feel someday that IRS may actually extend the due date for individual tax returns automatically to a later date, and it wouldn't surprise me sometime if it's June 15th. So I think, being a leader in our industry, that we will take a step ahead of them and push for that date as we move forward. And so I hope that's something that you can embrace. Another thing that we need to talk about is the assignment of clients. Each one of my staff, including myself, have certain areas of expertise. And so if you are a client of Daryl's, obviously someone else is going to have to work on your return. It might be 2 or 3 people that work on your return from start to finish, but the level of difficulty of your return is going to dictate which person on our staff is going to work on it. Some of Daryl's clients are certainly going to have to come to me, and we've already identified a few of those. Some of Daryl's clients could be handled by anyone on our staff, and that goes the same for my clients. Some of you may be working with a different person instead of me. I hope you feel comfortable with that. Certainly I'll be reviewing those returns, and if you have questions, we're always here to answer those things. So one of the other things that we're going to work on very hard here before this next tax season starts is increasing our efficiencies in our processes. And our processes are going to change. And that means we need to educate you. We need to do a great job of getting your organizer to you. We need to make sure that you have all the documents that you need, that you can get them to us in an efficient manner, which means either dropping them off or uploading them to our portal. And I'll do another video later about how our portal works. We have documents that we can send out on that. Many of you are using that, and we appreciate that very much. If you need an appointment, those are going to be harder to come by. There's only so many hours in a day, and there's only so much of us to go around. So an appointment is going to be more of a commodity. Unfortunately, our time is more valuable now, and those appointments will be tougher to come by. So if you don't feel like you need one, we really appreciate you utilizing our drop-off process or our portal to work on getting your returns processed. One of the other questions I've had to address is pricing, and certainly we want to be competitive in the marketplace. Our time and our staff come at a cost, and it really will probably take 2 or 3 people to replace Daryl. If you really want to look at it, you can't expect people who are staff to come in and work 7 days a week like he was doing. So to replace him, it's going to take a couple of full-time people, and unfortunately that comes at a cost. It's fortunate for them. I love to give people an opportunity to have a career here, but we have to look at the pricing of those returns. Some of those that Daryl was doing were a great value, and I hope you appreciate those values. I'm sure you do. But some of those prices are going to have to increase in order for us to compensate our employees accordingly and have the appropriate employees and good employees that come at a price, and we can be competitive in the salary market as well. One of the next things that I just want to talk about briefly is I am working on a new website. I'm excited about it. We're going to make it very easy to use. We're going to make it very user-friendly, great way for us to communicate, a great way for our clients to get in touch with us. A lot of great information there, and I'm really excited about that moving forward. So I'm looking at the timer at the top of the screen here, which you can't see, but the clock's on the wall, and I've been at this for about 12 minutes now. In summary, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your patience with us. This has been a very challenging year. We're still working on extensions. My staff has been doing a great job. I think the biggest thing that we've learned is it's taken us more time than I expected to familiarize ourselves with each one of you, your client, you as a client, your tax return, how your information came in, what Daryl was doing with those things. And I look forward to us making those processes more efficient. So that's it for today.